Did you ever get a piece of gear that you regret getting? Did you ever think, oh, I'm going to invest and I'm going to go above and beyond that. I'm going to get the best of the best thing money can buy, and then all my problems are going to be solved in that category forever. I had that quite a few years ago when I got this. The Analog Rytm MkII. This is a wonderful piece of gear. It has so much capability and things that it can do, and I have seen it in the hands of people who wield it well, and it's magical. It can do crazy things. And yet, it was sitting in my studio staring at me. And every time that I tried to work on it, I found myself working on it for about 5 minutes, realizing, oh, I want to do X, Y, or Z, realizing I don't know how to do it, going to the manual, coming back to it, going back to the manual, and before you know it, you're procrastinating by browsing social media or whatever. I started to build up over time the feeling that I just don't get this. Like, I'm not smart enough to work with this. Or maybe I have a flaw in my character that means that I don't have the dedication and work necessary to get into this thing. And so about a year ago, I said, no, now is the time. I'm going to get properly into it. And I got pretty into it. I set myself up with a live set, right? And this is kind of would be the master brain of all the drums. And the approach that I took was to load individual samples into all of these, and that would be my sound palette, so to speak. And then I would kind of program things on the fly and tweak it on the fly. What actually ended up happening was that I just had some fixed patterns that I triggered from here that I could mute and unmute. And basically the sound palette never really changed much. I never took any big daring leaps or I did anything special with this. It was always just turning on and off various sounds that were fine, but that didn't really touch me emotionally after a while. And then I was invited to ADE, to Symbiotic Sessions. Shout out to Actitect for organizing such a wonderful event. Basically, it's a live jam, right? With several electronic musicians. And every now and then, a different person takes lead of the low end or the drums and the low percussion. And so at one point, it was my time to do it. It was my turn. And I launched my sample, my kick sample. And I realized that through this sound system, due to however the kick sample interacted with the sound system, I just didn't like the way it felt. I wanted it to be either a little bit longer or a little bit shorter or a little bit deeper or a little bit higher, a little bit punchier, not punchier. And I'd locked myself in to a single kick sample. And that felt bad. What felt even worse in that moment was getting the request from Dave Mech, the conductor. Incredible character. Go check out his channel, by the way. Dave Mech came up to me and he said, Oscar, can you give us some kind of a rolling bass line on this? And my brain, that meme of like the seeing mathematical things? I was like, yeah, I'm sure in a normal situation I could, but it's too brainy for me right now. It's too intellectual. This thing was theoretically super capable, but I felt like I had no access to that in the moment. And so that was a very important moment for me to realize that I wanted to feel like I had a more direct sculpting relationship with the sounds and not basically have the ultimate potential of Ableton, but none of the immediacy of good controls at my fingertips. So after a bit of a conversation with Dave Mech himself, and after watching his amazing techno tutorial, I borrowed this from a very lovely shop here in Belgium called TurnLab. Thank you, TurnLab. Shout out to you. It's really nice to be able to test drive something like this without necessarily having to make the huge investment that one of these flagship drum machines entails, right? But what is this? This is the Erica Synths Perkons. It's just another drum machine, but in contrast to the Analog Rytm, what this thing has is only 4 voices. You can't do that much with it. Each voice has a line on the sequencer that's there at all times. You can just see exactly where the notes are programmed, so that invites you to manipulate that. And each sound has a relatively limited palette, actually a very limited palette, of what kind of sounds it can make. And so it's up to you to figure out, okay, what can I make these sounds do? But the knobs are right there. They're super immediate. So in a sense, this thing can do so much less than the Analog Rytm because all the interactivity is right there on the surface. I'm constantly drawn in thinking, oh, what shall I make? And instantly making it. And within a moment, it's there. Jamming with this has been a process of just getting started and suddenly waking up an hour and a half later going, whoa, I've been jamming on this for an hour and a half. I haven't even had to consult the manual. I haven't had to go look at online forums to try and understand how to copy paste patterns or God knows what. I'm not tempted to go back into the computer. I'm tempted to stay in my analog live jam. Now that's fun. I want to show you a few things on the Perkons right now, but by the way, I have no relationship with Erica Synths. They didn't even send me this, so this is a completely not sponsored or anything, right? It has nothing to do with any of that. I just want to share with you what a simple drum machine looks like, right? What we've got going here is this little light triggers a kick drum. You see there's 4 voices, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 different sounds you can play. And I've got 3 of them muted here. So this channel is muted, this channel is playing, this channel is muted, and this channel is muted, right? So we're just hearing this one going. And all the knobs here relate to the sound that we're hearing. So I could instantly make things longer, shorter, really short, high pass. I can start to make things more punchy, more aggressive waveform, and importantly, change the tune. And so wherever you're playing, especially in a live setting, if you're live performing, you can tune this thing to the room where you're in, the sound system that you're in. You can move these buttons around until you hit a spot where you say, this freaking sounds great on this specific sound system. It's so immediate, you know, and it's so great to know that whatever you're going to play, it's going to sound great on the sound system. And this is one of the low voices. This is the other low voice. So this is the kick for me. And then this is going to be the low tom. This is an advice by Dave Mech as well. He recommends this one for the kick. Because basically the kick timbres for both of these voices go freaking crazy. Honestly, voice number 2 is the mildest voice. And I use pretty much the mildest settings of the mildest voice. But it still sounds huge and great if I wanted to. And I can still further sculpt it. So I'm going to add in a second voice. That's just going to function like a low tom. It's just going to be like a rolling, well, the rolling bass line that Dave Mech asked me for in that event and never got. There it is. It's super simple to do, right? I could clear that entire voice and say, okay, let's make it a 4-step loop. Hop. And then you can search for it. Search for where the sweet spot is. This is overwhelming. You don't want your kick to disappear. You want something that complements your kick. So I'm going to just low pass it. I don't know. You can find this really quickly in a live setting. You'll just feel when it's like, oh, this snaps into place. And you can even like by ear tune things where you go, I just wish it would be a little higher, a little lower. Very easy to do. So if these are your lows, then this is your highs. So very simple, kind of like very dry hi-hat, which you can use a high pass filter to just place it up really high. Turn it into more of a ride. And there's a few different things you can do to make it more expressive. There's a few different algorithms as well. Anyway, let's stay kind of here. And you might be like, yeah, well, that feels limiting to only have one hi-hat line. And I would agree. So you start to practice a little bit at getting good at making these limitations work for you. So for example, I might shorten the decay and activate all the steps. And then very quickly grab the middle step and do like a parameter locking, kind of like on Electron, where just this step has a longer decay. And now we've got like a shaker plus an upbeat hi-hat. Let's sort of mix it out of the way so it's not too overwhelming. Cool. And then this third voice, I consider this the, what do you call this? The mid percussion or protagonist or the riff or something that sort of takes a lot of attention in the mids. I'll show you what I mean by that. This is kind of like a rim shot, like a 909 rim shot that you can also make noisy. So you can do something like quickly add a little re-triggers. You get some bonus points for adding a polymeter here. So you could do something like, if you're really trying to draw attention to yourself. Tell me that's not a sweet ass sound. There's a built-in delay. And you can mute and unmute the various tracks. And in a live context, you don't need much more than this. And so because all the controls are right out here where you can easily reach them, it's very easy in a live setting to do something like create a little break for yourself. In the background, clear things, set yourself up with a cool new pattern, maybe bring up the cutoff, bring in that pattern. Boom. And then you can also already think like, do I want this to be a short kick or a long kick? Let's go for a long kick. Whoa! On the big sound system, this is gonna absolutely blast. But then you can go for short again and bring back in the toms. Why not? And then you can bring back in the highs. So one thing I might often do is make a pattern sparser and go, you know, kind of halftime vibes. Boom, 2, 3, 4. So you get really playful with the pattern programming because it's right there all the time. It's so easy to do, you know. Yeah. Is this video really just me fanboying over the Perkons? Yes, I think it is. So since I got this, I've been doing a few performances with it and my modular live sets. I think maybe in a week or two I might do a little walkthrough of the entire sort of workflow of combining this with the modular and what's in the case. We're 1 year further since I last did a video like that, and I have opinions about the modular performance system. But to bring it back to the original question, is there any gear that you thought was going to be the best of the best, the solution to all your problems, and then turns out that for some reason you and it just don't really get along? There's just something that's not so compatible. And then is there a somehow worse thing that you suddenly became friends with because you couldn't get what you wanted from the other one? Or is there some worse gear that you've developed a personal relationship with that you love, even though it might technically not be the most capable, but actually in the end you use your limited tools in a more creative way? Let me know what you think. I'd love to know which other Underdog pieces of gear are out there that are worth connecting with, especially the ones that have very immediate controls, which makes them so much fun in an improvisational live context situation. True instruments. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like the video and subscribe. Have a look at my courses if you like that kind of thing. There's a Black Friday discount running right now. And until next time, stay producing, be good to each other, and take care. Bye-bye.